Hello guys, welcome to Zeta YouTube channel. This video is going to be about how to secure your AWS account. So by default, when you create your AWS account for the first time, so you're going to have to set it up with an email address and a password. And usually that password is going to be a password of your choice. But by default, multi-factor authentication is not going to be enabled. And that's one of the first steps. Having MFA enabled is going to be one of the best practice that you have to enable when you create your AWS account. So let's log into the AWS Management Console. And then once logged in there, we are going to need to go top corner right here. Click on my security credential. And so like I said, this is the account that we are using right now is a root account. And we're going to talk a little bit later about what are the best practices with the root account. So the option that you have here is you have the ability to change your password or enable the multi-factor authentication. And the password, to come back to the password, obviously we want to set up a password that is a strong password with, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers. That's common. So in terms of multi-factor authentication, so by default, like I said, it's not enabled. So you have to click on Activate MFA to enable the MFA on the root account. So once you click there, you have three choices. You have the virtual MFA device, which is the default choice, and this is what we are going to use. And this is to actually use a device that have an app, an authenticator app that is going to be used to authenticate with your username and password. So the app out there, the most common one is Google Authenticator, that is very common. And then there's Authy. It's another authenticator app that is very popular out there. And so the device could be a phone. Best practice is to have a phone. It could be a tablet. It could be a laptop. But again, the phone is most likely going to be the best choice. So second option, the UTF security key is going to be a USB key. It's basically a USB dongle that you're going to have to plug to your laptop to be used as a second form of authentication, so you can log in. And so I have a picture there I can show you. So it looks pretty much like that, but it's a USB dongle that you're going to have to plug to your USB port on your computer. So the second choice is the hardware MFA device, and it's going to be a physical token that's going to have a few numbers that is going to be used as a second form authenticator. I have some pictures there that I can show you, and those pictures as right here. It looks like that. And so these could be put on your keychain, but usually this is not really something that is very convenient for end users, because obviously it can be lost. And the same thing with the the security key, USB key that we talked about earlier. So again, we're going to use the virtual MFA device. Very simple to use with the app on your phone. Let's click on continue and show QR. This is very common when you set up an MFA and an authenticator app with an authenticator app. So I'm going to pick the Google Authenticator today and scan the QR code. So scan the QR code and enter the sequence of numbers that shows on my phone. And I have to wait for the new sequence of number. All right, there we go. So 39061 and assign MFA. So MFA is set up. So I want to come back to the fact that we're using a root account right now. So the best practice is not to use the root account on a day-to-day basis. So when you administer your AWS resources, you want to use users, and in order to do that, you have to use a component called Identity and Access Management, IAM. And so we're right in that console right now. And so what I would recommend is to not use that root account. So once it's set up, so you have to make sure that obviously you have MFA set up, and make sure also that there's no access keys set up with that root account. If there is, you want to delete that. And the reason why is that the root account should not be used for anything other than potentially troubleshoot something with your IAM users. So on a day-to-day basis, you want to use our IAM users, and in order to set that up, so you're going to have to go on the Identity and Access Management app, and you can access it, using this link over here, services, and just type IAM, and you will see it there, and just click on it, and you will have access to that console. So first thing first, we need to set up a user. So we're going to set up a user, this user. So we're going to call this user Steve. And we are going to select the Access Management Console access. We're going to auto-generate the password. And we can require password reset the first time we log in. Next, we're going to talk about the permissions here. So what are the permissions that you can set up? So I have a group that has been already set up with administrator access. But in order to do that, it's very simple. In order to set up a group, you just click on Create Group. And you name your group, this group. And then you pick, the permission that you want. And there's tons of permissions. But in our case, we are going to use the administrator access, which will give us, for the most part, access to the entire console. So I'm going to pick that group that was already created, administrators. Click on Next, Tags, and so here we can put a tag. This is optional. So this tag is going to be name, and I'm going to call Steve admin account. So the tags, I use to name resources in AWS, and in this case, we're gonna give it a name on that new user that we created. So click next review. So this is kind of like a review of everything that was set up for Steve account, and we're gonna create user. All right, so the user is created, and we can close. So same thing as the root account. So you want to enable MFA, and by default, I just set up Steve account, and Steve account doesn't have MFA set up. So as you can see here, there's a column that tells you that MFA is not set up, it's not enabled. So I need to click on Steve, and at this point, go to the Security Credentials tab and click on Manage MFA. And we're gonna have the exactly same screen as when we set up the MFA for the root account. So it's gonna be the exactly same thing. Virtual MFA. So show QR. So I'm gonna scan that QR, and this is I'm gonna pretend this is Steve phone with the Google Authenticator app. Just scan the QR code. I'm gonna enter the MFA code 1. All right, so waiting for the next combination of numbers. There you go, 313404. And assign MFA. So we get our user set up with MFA right now, and with that user we can generate access keys if we need to, and access keys we can give a brief description of access keys. It's used for if you have some scripts or application that need to do certain things on the AWS environment. You could actually put those keys, use those keys to actually start a server or stop a server or do certain things, specific things on the AWS platform. All right, so we have our user set up, and so I would say this user, as an administrator, is the user that I'm going to need to use on a day-to-day basis to manage my AWS environment. And this is one of the best practice, to not use a root account, but use IAM users. So the next important thing to set up to secure your AWS account is to set up CloudTrail. And CloudTrail, so I'm going to jump here and put CloudTrail here. All right, so we just got to CloudTrail. We just need to make sure that CloudTrail is enabled. And CloudTrail is going to be used to track everything that's happening on your AWS account, from logging in to do certain things like starting a server, stopping a server. Everything is going to be tracked on CloudTrail. And at this point, you're going to be able to use that in terms of, so if something happens, you can go back to it and see, what are the events that happened. All right, to recap, what did we cover in this video? Number one, making sure that the root account have MFA enabled. Number two, make sure that you have an IAM user that also have the MFA enabled. And number three, make sure that you have CloudTrail enabled. If it's not enabled, I strongly recommend to have CloudTrail enabled so you can track everything that's happening on the platform. So if you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel And if you have any questions, please leave comments down below. And until next time, bye-bye, guys.